All right, welcome back to another edition of Afternoon Drive. My name is Drew Moholland. Happy Thursday out there. I told you it was going to be spring at some point. It is beautiful outside. I have seen all sorts of stuff today. I have seen the majority of people walking into my work today. Almost all of them have decided to go shorts. There was tailgating, like in parking lots today. I saw one guy just in a lawn chair I think it was a CBS. Long story short, people are enjoying the warm weather. It is about time, isn't it? But this is Afternoon Drive. My name is Drew Moholland. Hope you're all having a good day. It's been a busy day so far. On the news front, we got the big name entering the Democratic race to the White House. Mr. Joe Biden, the former vice president, launching his bid for the White House today. Not exactly a surprise, but you know, it's official. He becomes... I think unofficially number 21 on the Democratic side to run for the White House. There's a lot of people. How are they going to fit everybody on the podium? I don't know. But Joe Biden launching his bid. That should be interesting. He kind of immediately becomes, I think, the front runner in most polls. But who knows how this is all going to turn out. But yeah, it's interesting. President Trump started tweeting at him already. I think he already came up with a nickname for him, which you can expect. What was it? It was Sleepy Joe. Sleepy Joe, the president called Joe Biden, which I kind of can't help but laugh. I don't know. Don't forget, folks, our shows, both radio and TV, available on demand streaming on our YouTube channel and our SoundCloud. To reach the YouTube channel, go to ncmhub.org. That is ncmhub.org. Click on the YouTube icon on the top right of the page. That's an easy way to do it. And to reach our SoundCloud, go to the same site, ncmhub.org, and click on the icon on the top right of the page for SoundCloud. So there you go. You can hear all these shows. They're posted. If you can't catch them in real time at this hour, at the 3 o'clock. Tuesday, we're going to be on at 3 o'clock again. If you can't catch them at 3 o'clock, then go there and you can watch all the shows. So there you go. Big thanks for Tyler Neufeld for continuing to remind me and writing out these little things here for me that I always forget to do. Tyler Neufeld producing today, along with Alexi Foley, David Kramer on the TV side. Thank you all for watching and seeing us there. Our guest today is Mike Morris. We have had him on before. It is coming up on, it's a good day to have him on because we've had winter's kind of behind us now. We're entering spring season. That means hurricane season's not far behind, and he's kind of an expert on the weather fronts and what it does to this area, specifically Plum Island, specifically. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. He's always an interesting guy. I'm always fascinated where our conversations go because they go in kind of strange directions. I think we ended last time by talking about him surfing somewhere with his son, and I forget exactly what the details were, but it was very interesting. I should go back and watch that someday. Maybe we'll just talk about it again today. But Mike Morris from the group Storm Surge is in the house, so we'll talk with him in just a couple minutes. Let's see, what else do we have going on today? Another massive Boston sports night. Seems like that's going to be the case here for a couple weeks. The Boston Bruins start their season. What a game the other night for the Bruins. So that was Tuesday night when I was right here, actually. Last show, we were talking about the Bruins that night, the big Game 7. The Bruins came through. How riveting, how exciting was that? It was great. They win, and now they're on tonight to face Columbus at the Boston Garden. And what's that? You can talk, Lexi. What?
The mayor's here for you.
Oh, and the mayor's here. Okay, she made it in today. Interesting. Let's bring her right in. Bring her right in, Lexi. Come on in. We got Mayor Donna Holaday in the house. We're going to bring her right in. And when Mike gets here, Lexi, do me a favor. Just tell Tyler that when Mike gets here, we'll just take 15 minutes with the mayor. We'll be right with him, okay? And let's see. Mayor Donna Holaday, this, as promised, she's going to join us from the last Tuesday's show. We couldn't do it, so here we are today. Come on in, Mayor. How are you? Good to see you. Come on in. Settle right in. How you doing? All right, we'll turn on the microphone. You can throw the headphones on or not, either way. That's good. So, well, thank you so much for coming in.
Sure.
That's fantastic to see you. I was just talking, actually, opening the show, about the big news of the day, which is Joe Biden entering the presidential race. Is that exciting for the Democratic Party?
I believe it is.
I think it is too. What is the What is the thoughts when you have 21 people, I believe it is now, running for any position in politics? I would imagine the podiums get kind of tough, aren't they?
I would say so. And I think what was the comment I heard recently is that it's been interesting to watch the Democrats eat their young. So,
It is. Have you ever seen anything like this? And I mean, you've been in politics a long time.
well, I mean, the last presidential, I mean, we had, 16, 17 candidates on the Republican side. So
How about on the local level? Is there anything, any races that you can imagine? I mean, even some smaller ones. I mean, it must be tough to handle that kind of number.
Well, we the only thing that can come remotely close to that I can remember on a local level was actually the year that I ran for city council at large, my first election. There were 5 at-large seats, and there were 11 people running for them.
Oh, wow.
So that was, really unusual because at this rate, most of the races, it's usually someone running for at large, but there's not a lot of competition at the ward level, which it's always nice. You got to have competition.
Competition is good, isn't it?
Right.
Brings the best out of people,
Right,
doesn't it?
you have to talk about what you've been doing or what you will do, or opens it up for good debate. And I think it's important that people step up and run.
Absolutely. Well, we'd like to have you on every. It seems like we do it every few months with you, which is kind of a nice way to check in and check on the state of Newburyport. How's the city doing? What's the general feel from the mayor's office?
Well, I think that we're at the start of construction season, and which is, in one sense, I'm glad we didn't have a horrific winter, but it was a winter with freezing and thawing and freezing and thawing. And what does that do?
Right.
It destroys your roads.
Yeah.
And, I know their DPS, my office, everyone's receiving numerous complaints.
I was going to say, that's one of the things people call about, isn't it?
Right, potholes, and I understand that. I understand that. But, we are playing catch up in terms of a lot of the capital and infrastructure needs in the city because things were deferred for so many years. And we had, I think when I was on the council, we had a $30,000 budget for roads and sidewalks, and that can probably do a foot. And our Chapter 90 funds from the state have remained around $500,000 for forever. And so, everything else is going up in terms of costs, and it's, you're trying to manage all of that. But on Monday night at the city council meeting, I will be talking in real detail about bids were coming in today, and we will begin very shortly a massive push in terms of working on roads in particular.
All right.
And so, as I said, I'll be giving a lot more detail at the city council meeting Monday night. So check in.
Check on in. I know when we were talking Tuesday, Mayor, the budget was being currently crafted. I think that's what you guys were working on.
Well, we've been working on it for months.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's not a one-day thing.
No, we start back. We start back in, the schools usually start around November, December, beginning to talk about their budget, and then we kick in really once the House One budget drops, the governor's budget in third week in January, and then we begin, backing into that budget, knowing what our local aid is.
Those must be a little bit of a grind. I know you've been through them all several times, but the budgets are tough because you can't please everybody, right?
No, and there's always more needs than there is enough funding to go around. So, prioritizing and, ensuring that, the departments have sufficient resources to be able to do their jobs.
Do you take a fresh look every time, or is it one of those things where, maybe we can't tackle it in this budget, but maybe in the next one? Like, are you taking notes for the next budget down the line? Or
Always.
do you really?
Always. In particular, our capital, which is a 5-year plan, which is always evolving. But in terms of department heads come in, meet, and we do pretty comprehensive narratives and objectives and set benchmarks, goals for the next year that we like each of the departments to work towards meeting. And I think that has helped us with we receive for the last 7 years an award from the Government Finance Officers Association, which is the most prestigious finance organization for government in North America, including Canada, and this will be the 7th year we've received an award because of our budget presentation. So I think we've worked really hard. We have a good template that makes it easier because you're just updating what's there.
Yep.
Some of the budgets we drill down further only because they're much larger budgets like public safety, police, fire, and highway, water, sewer. Other budgets are small. They're mostly personnel and then a little bit of supplies and whatever.
Gotcha.
So, but the larger budgets, we do tend to, really drill down. And then some of those are contractual obligations. When you renew your contracts for usually 3-year cycles with each of the divisions in the city, departments in the city, then some of those are contractual obligations that you have to build into the budget anyway. But the schools did a really good job, I think, this year in terms of really looking with the new superintendent, new high school principal, and his, sort of newly formed under the new superintendent, his leadership team, they really did a nice job in terms of looking, really drilling down on the school budget, which I really appreciated, because I feel oftentimes they're at this year, okay, now give me another 3, 4, whatever percentage, and they just add to that. Yeah. But instead really looked at their needs and were able to move some things around, which I appreciated.
A lot of puzzle pieces, right?
Yes.
Yeah, again, Mayor Donna Holaday here, Newburyport. I wanted to ask you, too, we had mentioned a little bit about the former Vice President Biden into the election. We have a local congressman who also just threw his name in the race. I'm wondering if you've had any, I'm sure you've had some dealings, but I'm wondering how well you know Congressman Seth Moulton and your thoughts on him entering the race.
I certainly do know Congressman Moulton, and he was very supportive of my reelection, and I introduced him when he was here 2 years ago for his town hall. Certainly when made our trip to D.C. a couple months ago now, where we were there to meet with our state delegation, Senator Warren, Senator Markey, and Congressman Moulton, to talk about dredging the Merrimack River and the things that the city needs. And certainly staff was very responsive at this point. I'm just open at this point, listening, because there's so many candidates. It's just I think early to make real.
When do they start knocking on your door saying, you know what, can we get an endorsement? Has that already started with a lot of these people?
People are letting me know what's going on, but I think people know that it's a little early to actually formalize endorsement. So that will all be coming.
I'm sure it will. It's exciting, nevertheless. And of course, we had and Bernie Sanders in the race. There's a lot of New England, actually. When you think about Governor Weld also in the race, it's quite a New England element to it this time around, which is kind of interesting and exciting on the political front. You ready for spring here? Done with the?
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
it's about time, right?
Yes.
It looks like not a great weekend again, but this is a nice day out there today. You worried about Plum Island at all as we get close to the summer season, and then of course hurricane season?
No, hurricane season. Yes, that's when we start worrying come the fall. Because we did have to postpone one Reservation Terrace. We were working on this massive dune nourishment project again this year, but as it turned out, with the size of the project and the plovers and the monitors and the fact that it looked like it was going to take 8 weeks and require 8 staff, I can't pull that kind of resource to one street on Plum Island for the entire summer when I have catch basins and roads and sidewalks and cleanups and bathrooms to open and parks to get ready and cemeteries for Memorial Day. There's just no way that we can reallocate that level of resource peak summer for 8 weeks. I can't do it. So we're gonna embark on that dune nourishment in the fall.
When you order an evacuation too, like I think we had at least one last summer, right, of Plum Island when the flooding started happening and the bridge was flooded. Didn't we tell everybody to get off at some point?
Well, I don't think we've.
Or did we suggest it? I don't know.
It's suggested. Even during 2015, when we had the 10 feet of snow and lost a good chunk of the sewer system for 3.5 weeks, and paid to put like 180 people up in hotels and inns and whatever. There were still a lot of people who refused to leave. So they're diehard out there. People love their homes. They love the island, and they want to stay to protect their home and property. But
how important is it? You talk about all the stuff that's on your plate, and it is as beautiful a spot it is. It is a very small percentage-wise of part of the city that you look over. How important is it? We have a guy who I think you probably know, Mike Morris, who runs the Storm Surge, coming in after you here today, and one of his big things has been research on Plum Island. How important is that sort of private, those groups looking at these things and trying to come up with fixes to to really help out the city. It's kind of important to have those small groups come in and kind of.
Well, I don't. Storm Surge is not that small.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Yeah,
represent
okay, yeah.
hundreds of people in the greater Newburyport area. They certainly started small, but
Yeah.
Mike also is hired as the consultant to help us finish our sustainability plan for Newburyport and Plum Island.
Oh, he's hired
So,
through the city. Okay,
yeah, so
gotcha.
he's helping to do that too. So
Okay.
and he's been part of us, the MVP program, the Municipal Vulnerabilities Preparedness Program. We've become certified, and then we're eligible to apply for additional grants to study assets that are at risk. Like, for example, right now we're concerned about the wastewater treatment facility
Yeah.
on Water Street, which was designed in '02 before we really knew what we know today about storm surge and climate change and FEMA maps and what level things should be. And 2 years ago, during that March, or it was a year ago, March, that 3 high tide cycle, the water levels came up fairly high
Yeah.
at the wastewater treatment plant. That's a $37 million project
Wow.
that we want to protect. So we've applied for a grant to, working with 2 different engineering firms. One, because we've got the rail trail behind there that we've got to
Yep.
finish, and protecting the wastewater treatment plant. So these groups are important because they bring a lot of scientists and people who are working in the field, people who have been studying this for a long time. Storm Surge, for example,
Yep.
has worked to really educate the community, bringing in high-level scientists and people working in the field who have really brought great information to the greater Newburyport area about what's happening with storm surge and climate change. So this resiliency group has been wonderful. They've been working on the MVP piece as well as our sustainability project, and we're hopefully be able to get this grant for the wastewater treatment plant, and then our next step is to begin looking at the Artichoke Dam and protection to our water supply.
There's always a next thing, isn't there?
There's always the next, the next, the next, and the next.
I'm sure you know what's behind
Yeah.
on that list too. Again, Mayor Donna Holaday here, Newburyport. I remember you went out west, and you've been a bit of a trendsetter, or at least a leader in the environmental aspects and trying to make Newburyport and green footprint improvements, I guess. And you went out west, and I know you did a big conference out there on the heels of Earth Day, which seemed to I seemed to hear more people talking about Earth Day the other day, which was interesting. It was all over my Twitter feed, all over
Right.
Facebook.
Right.
You must be pretty pleased to see more
certainly.
people getting involved, huh?
Absolutely, and I think also another piece to that is the Green Expo that Molly Ettenborough and Mike and all of the people working on these issues came together with companies that are doing green products, as well as presentations, panel discussions. There were over 600 people who came through the middle school last Thursday for this Green Expo. They did a great job.
Wow.
So, these are the ways that you educate the community on, new solar programs we're looking at. We just finished, Deb Shepard just finished doing a really comprehensive assessment of our carbon footprint so that we can really begin working on that commitment to reduce our carbon footprint. And we're also getting ready to roll out a new plan for waste reduction with the community, which we've had. Molly's had this wonderful team working for over a year on what are we doing about all of our trash.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I know I'm bouncing around to a bunch of different topics, but I did want to ask you too about. I think pretty much I've been listening to local officials in Sri Lanka where they had this horrible Easter Sunday bombings, and I've been listening to a lot of local mayors and local policemen, and just saying how tough it is in their communities to deal with tragedies like this. And I always think to myself, every local leader in the country, in the world, must dread something like that happening. I know our hearts are out with the people of Sri Lanka right now as the death toll continues to climb. But is that like the worst fear from any leader of any community is a targeted attack like that? And I just think, we had it happen in Boston. Newburyport's a big city. Is that something that just every leader dreads? Small communities to big.
Well, I don't think there's any question about it. It's.
What was it? I think it was the gas explosions we talked about last time,
Right.
which obviously was an terror attack, but it was in this neighborhood.
But it's an explosion,
right? And immediately you're tuned. You drop everything, and
Right.
what has happened, right?
And your entire communities are devastated, and just like that, everything changes in terms of what you have to focus on and the resources you have to bring, and trying to support people during these times. It's It certainly is something that's always in the back of your mind. And what we have done in the city is every year before we start our big festivals and like Yankee Homecoming and Riverfest will
Yeah,
be.
you have big events here.
Right, but Riverfest is going to Gloucester
That's
this year.
true,
They've decided that they've outgrown Little Newburyport, but anyway.
Little Newburyport, yeah.
But we do we bring together our whole public safety emergency response teams, DPS, everybody sits around a table, and the chief throws out a scenario to us in terms of, okay, we're in the middle of Yankee Homecoming, big festival on the waterfront, it's nighttime, and whatever, some incident happens, and then we have to walk through with each of us what our response would be in that situation.
Wow, like real-time scenarios.
Oh,
wow.
yeah, absolutely. We do one, at least one a year, just with, we have the hospital, we have our health department, fire, police, DPS, everybody's at the table talking about a scenario. And I think it gives us a chance to reconnect with all the people, make sure that the players are still there. We have all the same, cell numbers and, all of that, and walk through each of those scenarios. And I think it's been really helpful, and I think it gives us a little sense of extra preparedness and not be it should, God forbid, something should happen.
Has that world changed even in the last 10 years or so? I mean, were you doing stuff like that 10 years ago, where you're going through those sort of situations? Because it does seem like the world has changed here at some point, or maybe it was September 11th. I don't know.
I think it was.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sort of changed people's perspective, and just things like putting a fence around our water plant, which we never had before once we did the renovations there.
Yeah.
Putting cameras up in places that we hadn't had before. Putting extra security in our IT system because of concerns about that being hacked. And, so I think you have to look at every aspect of that in terms of ensuring that when people come to your community, they feel safe. I mean, I feel Newburyport is a very, very safe community, but, it only takes one incident like that, like the marathon, or God forbid, somebody else has some other type of device.
Yeah.
But, for the most part, I think, we're as prepared as we can be. Our staff, I know police and fire go through trainings. They do the Seabrook trainings every year, and they're rated. So, I mean, I think we are as prepared as we can be at this juncture.
I bet. Again, we're talking with Newburyport Mayor Donna Holaday here, catching up on a variety of different topics today. I know you had mentioned Governor Baker a little bit earlier, who I know you do some work with as well. Did you see he was one of the voted, I think it was Time Magazine voted him one of the most influential leaders there the other day, which was, I know you've had a pretty good relationship. It's the other side of the aisle, but you have a good working relationship with Governor Baker, don't you?
I do. I think that Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito have been incredibly responsive to municipalities. They, he was a selectman in Swampscott, and she, coming from, her local community, also being involved, and then as a state rep. So they really understand the struggles and challenges of municipalities, and the programs that they have put forth, whether it's the Commonwealth Compact program, best practices where they help you develop, a best practice in an area that you might have had some difficulty in, with grant programs, with the Mass Force Works program. I mean, they just have really increased opportunities for municipalities to step forward and apply for funding through the state to help advance programs that are really critical.
Is it? I would think it's something in this day and age where you look at in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., it just seems like it is a grind to get anything done. It is a divide like I've never seen in my lifetime. I think folks a lot older than me are probably saying the same thing. Is it something that Massachusetts and politicians and leaders in Massachusetts take a lot of pride in, that there's a Republican governor who's very well liked, is getting a lot of things done with a lot of Democratic leaders throughout the state? Massachusetts, of course, very Democratic, but here you go. Is it something you take pride in, working
Absolutely.
with somebody like Governor Baker?
I think people should look to Massachusetts as a model.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be this divisive, and we should be able to look at, why were you elected? Who do you represent? You represent people who live in your state or district, and we all, infrastructure needs across our entire country, whether it's, failing roads and infrastructure and, rivers and CSOs that need to be cleaned up. I mean, there's a long, long list. Our schools,
Yep.
funding, healthcare. I mean, all of these things, people need to sit down at the table. Immigration, and just figure it out.
Yeah.
And, I just think we have gotten so divisive in Washington that I don't have a lot of hope for a lot of, important things coming down that need to be passed.
Do you almost shake your head a little bit as somebody who's been in the game for so long, and you have there's a lot of some rising stars in the whether it be local Congress people or whatever be the case. There's a lot of old timers there too. They've been there forever. Just, it seems like everything is just, people are so upset with Washington right now and the inability to get things done. Do you sometimes, as somebody who's, you must shake your head at some of this stuff and go, what are they doing here? This is like amateur hour on Capitol Hill.
It's a soap opera.
It's a soap opera, yeah.
It's very frustrating. I don't think there's any question about it. So, I mean, the message I give to people locally is focus local. Focus on what you can. Join a board, join a commission, help clean up a park, join a board for a nonprofit, and things that make you feel good, things that you care about. You can make a difference here locally, and just, we can keep hoping and talking and writing and, going to events to talk to people who support us in Washington and try and encourage them to do more. But at this point, I really think you can make more of an impact locally.
I know you've always felt that way. I think I'll end on an uplifting note here with you, Mayor. My wife said to me last weekend, we came into Newburyport and we took the dogs around and we went for a walk and we went over to Breakheart and everything. And she said to me, she goes, "This is probably one of my favorite cities to visit here in Newburyport." Oh. And we're not that far away. We're only Danvers, so we come in here a lot, but it's a little local treasure. It's a great little spot, especially when the weather gets nice here like this. I mean, do you ever just kind of look around and go, we do have ourselves a nice little city here?
All the time.
I bet you do.
All the time.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, and we just have to, keep working to, make improvements. And I think one of the, most significant things that happened since last we spoke, Drew, was the vote to pass my request for passage of the home rule petition that would dissolve the Newburyport Redevelopment Authority. That was a historic vote by the City Council at their last meeting, and now it's in Boston now, being reviewed by the legislature, and this is something that the city's been struggling for decades on what to do with the waterfront, and so by removing and dissolving the NRA, because they were so important to the city, at the time of urban renewal when they saved our downtown, and did great work for several decades, and then it just came to almost a stalemate in terms of what was going to happen to the last parcel, which is the waterfront. Yeah. And so between the harbor master and the Redevelopment Authority and the Waterfront Trust and citizens, and there's just all these, the council, all these stakeholders on the waterfront, which makes it really difficult to make decisions about how we move forward. But the one thing that is in the home rule petition is that we heard loud and clearly that people do not want development on the waterfront. So it will be protected forever as Article 97, a park with some parking, and this is, now we can move forward once we get the home rule petition and begin to figure out disposition of the land, and we can finally get the park built that everyone's been waiting for a really long time.
I know people are very local about that. I've heard. Right. I don't live in Newburyport, but I hear all about that stuff.
But things are moving forward, and one of the big pieces to that was to build the garage. That was always to get cars. It's not big enough to take as many cars as we would have liked off the waterfront, but certainly some cars will be coming off the waterfront, and we have a ribbon cutting scheduled for May 13th at 4:30 with Governor Baker.
Oh, very nice.
And it won't be open that day, but it's pretty close, and we have to work around his schedule, and I'm really grateful that he's able to come.
Very nice.
Because it was an important earmark of $5 million from the state to help advance that project. Otherwise, we'd still be looking at the old fitness factory there.
Well, that should be an exciting day for you, I'm sure.
And hopefully for the city, too.
And the city, yes. Do you take a lot of pride in having all those things to do in your report? It's the one, I live in Danvers, as I think I mentioned before, and it's nice downtown and everything, but when we were, out of college and, in my mid-20s, if we ever wanted to do something, it was like there's really very few options in my hometown. We were always driving to Salem or somewhere, with more things to do. Newburyport has kind of hit that spot where there's a lot to do in Newburyport. You can walk downtown and you can go to restaurants. You can see live music. You have a couple breweries in town now, which seems to be taking off. It just seems like there's a lot to do. And as mayor, I would think that's a good thing. You're attracting people, right?
Right. I'd like us to do more, though. I would really
still want more, yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I'd like to see our shops downtown opened, particularly in the summer, later on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, maybe even Sunday.
I think it shuts down too early.
Yeah, many of them shut down very early. I'd like to see more opportunity for more music in downtown, because we really don't have a lot of venues for that. I mean, we certainly have festivals and the Yankee Homecoming, etc. But it'd be nice to have more options for music. It'd be nice to have a place you could go listen to jazz, a place you could go listen to more classical music, whatever.
You've got a lot of great local musicians. A lot of them come in here.
I know. I know a few myself.
Yeah, that's great.
So I think there's still more we can do, but I certainly think that the city is very vibrant and is continuing to grow. And we have another tall ship coming in this summer, and the Impossible Dream, which is so wonderful. It's a catamaran that has been designed for people with physical disabilities and wheelchairs. So that's really exciting that's coming back. They had such a nice reception. So there's groups stepping up who are organizing things, our parks, the Custom House Maritime Museum. So it's all good.
Yes, vibrant is a good word. I think I'm going to steal that word from you at some point. The vibrant city of Newburyport. Right?
Well, the other thing that the Essex Heritage was putting these kiosks up in different communities that are part of their area, and Newburyport had one, and we had to come up with an adjective to describe Newburyport. And so it's this traditional one's historic Newburyport, but so we came up with uniquely Newburyport.
Oh, very nice.
And I think that really captures Newburyport.
There you go. I like it. So you've had time to think about that already. Very good.
It's already up there on the PS. So,
beautiful. Yes. Mayor Donna Holaday, thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it. It was great catching up with you. Happy spring. Hopefully we get some nice weather here for a little bit.
Thanks, Drew, and to you.
A pleasure as always. Mayor Donna Holaday, much more when we come back. It is Afternoon Drive on Joppa Radio. All right, welcome back to Afternoon Drive here on Joppa Radio. My name is Drew Moholland. Thank you so much for tuning in on what is a lovely Thursday afternoon out there. Very nice. Finally feels like spring for at least one day, and then I think rain comes in tomorrow. So enjoy it while you can, folks. Listen to the show outside on the deck if you can. Tyler Neufeld, producer. How are you, bud?
Good.
Oh, the nervous yawn.
Stop calling me out on it.
Nervous yawn. Oh, I'm going to call you out every time.
God.
It's something we got to get rid of with you if you're going to become this huge radio star that you have the potential to be.
As long as I don't do it during an interview, which will happen.
Yeah.
Which has happened.
Yes. Yes, you just did.
That didn't mean, you know what I meant.
Big thanks to Mayor Donna Holaday as well. Fantastic to see her. I actually wasn't even sure she was going to get in today because, Tuesday she was telling me how busy of a week it is and she couldn't get in Tuesday. And look at that, making some time for us on a Thursday. So we always appreciate that from the mayor, which did bump Mike Morris from that. It's very tough to get on the show these days. We're bumping people now.
It's a busy schedule.
But apologies to Mike. We'll get him on. I know he's running around today and was going to make some time for us. But once I think he saw the mayor, he said, you know what, let me just let the mayor do her thing and I'll jump out of here. So Mike, we'll get you on next time. Good guy, Mike Morris. So we'll make sure to have him on again soon, especially as we come up on hurricane season and all that stuff, just like a month away. Spring day out there, Tyler. You done anything? You been outside or you been inside? Sarah putting you to work all day.
I drove here, so I had to get.
You drove here. That's good. So you did that outside.
Yeah,
that was good.
It's we're busy because of Earthport.
Earthport, yeah,
which is coming up on Sunday.
That's this Sunday? Mm-hmm. Okay.
The 28th?
Yep.
Yeah, 28th.
So that's this Sunday. Very good. Earthport, right? A few days after Earth Day. Was that planned that way?
I imagine.
Probably.
I think they wanted it to be a bit closer, but it was Easter.
Yeah.
Can't really do that.
Probably. Yeah, that's probably true. That's right.
I was going to show up on Easter.
Well, you never know.
Well, you never know, but not many, I'd imagine.
You're right. I played golf on Easter.
The golf courses are open?
Yeah. Usually it's kind of a busy day, I think. See, if you think about it, it's, if you don't have it's really for the kids, right? The mornings, you get the Easter egg hunts and everything. So, I don't have kids. My dad's a little bit older. My dad wanted to get out. I said, let's go play golf. And we did.
Yeah, what time? Like 9?
Early, because we got to be back.
7.
We do brunch, so
Brunch.
I was out by 7.
What did you have for brunch?
We did, what was it? I think we did like pork or lamb, one of those. I don't know. There was everything. There was salads. There was
Beverage.
Beverage. We were making fun drinks. I don't get together with my cousins too often, so whenever we have a full day off like that together, it's usually a little something involved.
Oh yeah, I remember you were mentioning that you were, because of your diet as well. Go your keto. Keto is like not keto. No carbs.
No carbs. Yeah, I try not to do the no carbs. It's actually the topic of conversation on the outside of these walls right now. A lot of people talking about the
no carbs.
trying to get. You know what I think it is? People trying to get in late shape here for the summer. I think that's what it is. You know,
They're looking for
shape.
the quick way.
Yeah, I guess it's quick. I don't know. Something quicker than others.
Well,
I'm still trying a little bit, but
yeah.
I'm not. I cheat all the time. Not all the time. I'm doing pretty good, but I'm not going to be one of those guys that, going crazy, not eating certain things. Can't be that guy. My buddies look at me like I've been out to a couple dinners, and can I get the salad without the croutons? Whenever you get that look, it's like you're officially that guy.
You become something else.
Yeah. But no, I don't know. Whatever. The spring weather is here. What is your favorite spring activity, Tyler Neufeld? Yeah.
What is a spring activity? That isn't just a normal activity.
I don't know. What were we just talking about there? We're talking about bicycling around town, right?
It's just a normal thing, right?
It's a spring activity.
I guess you're right.
Come on. That's a strictly spring activity. You can't do that in the wintertime. I know people do, but it's not really
It's not wise.
golf. You don't golf.
I can't.
That's my spring activity.
I wish I could golf.
You could. Anybody can.
I could.
It's a free country, my friend.
True. I don't know. I guess just going for a walk and without a coat on.
Without a coat on. Walking without a coat on is an acceptable answer. Well done.
I'm more of a fall, summer kind of guy.
Yeah. Oh, I meant to bring my guitar to you today.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we were going to do that.
I think you're right about the weather. I was telling somebody else that at work today who plays a little bit.
Yeah.
And I told him what you said about why my string might be rattling. And I think you might be right.
Yeah. I might be right.
Did you see?
But I might be wrong.
You're a man who you said we were talking last about how you like to travel a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see at Logan Airport today? They said no to the Uber and Lyft. They're trying to cater to the taxis a little bit more.
So you
they
can't
wanted
order
to
an Uber or Lyft to
Well,
Logan?
that's been the deal. I've always been confused by that because I've got an Uber before at the airport, but I believe they're not supposed to do that, right?
I don't know. I've never taken an Uber or Lyft to or from the airport.
No.
Well, I don't.
You have people bailing you out, dropping you off.
My dad picks me up
Good job, Dad.
and drops me off. Or I've had to take, in the case of going to Berlin the first time, I had to take the subway from.
Do they have Uber and Lyft in Germany?
They have Uber. I don't know if they have. They have insanely quick response time.
Oh.
I don't know why. It was like a minute. It was weird.
Really? Everywhere? Several times, or just you got lucky once?
All the time. It was weird.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
Crazy. So today, Massport approves a plan to create a central location at Logan. So I guess the deal. So I think there was a change eventually where they did allow the Uber and Lyft to sweep through. I think that's the last thing because they weren't supposed to be there, and then they said it's happening anyway. So just let it happen. And now they're coming up with a central location
for drop off.
Yes, all pickups will now be directed to the new location. Passengers are going to have to do more walking now because of this, because you can't swing right through.
Wait, does this also mean that if you're not taking a taxi, or if you're not taking a Uber or Lyft, you can't get picked up at the terminal?
I don't know. I didn't.
Because that is
I did not
outrageous.
see that I have not seen that part. How can they stop that? If that comes through to swing in to get you.
Yeah, it's like, well, I don't want to walk all the way.
Jump in the car
right
and let's
here.
go. No,
Yeah,
I think that's fine. I think that's different. There will also be a new $3.25 fee. $3.25
For what?
for pickups.
Wait, you have to what? Wait
For drop-offs. There's already one for pickups.
Wait, if you get picked up, if you're picking someone up.
I think this is keep in mind this is Uber Lyft.
Oh, okay.
So there's already a $3.25 for getting picked up. So I guess you've had to pay this. If an Uber is coming to get you at Logan, there's an extra $3.25, which probably the Uber has to pay, but then they charge you for. I'm guessing is how that works.
What if you walk from the terminal like half a mile?
Yeah,
get picked up.
Well, I think people do that.
Yeah, it's well,
because I remember that was a big conversation like a few years ago when Uber and Lyft were really taking off, and they people were, all right, Uber and Lyft not allowed technically to pick you up at Logan, but they can't stop us from a half mile away from Logan.
They can't because you're going.
So it's interesting. Governor Baker supports the plan. That's interesting.
Yeah.
This all happened today, by the way. I'm still kind of catching up on it.
Now, is that a monopoly technically?
It is. There is so much that goes into the Uber and Lyft situation because you have the taxi companies that are just furious.
No, do you need to get like a medallion like you do in New York up here?
I don't think you do.
Okay.
But I don't know for sure. I don't think you do, though.
Because those used to be like very valuable.
Yeah.
They still are, but they've gone down.
It's a very interesting. I mean, I am as simple-minded on this as possible. I know that I like using Uber and Lyft. I know that it tends to be cheaper and faster and easier because it's right here on this cell phone. And I use it a lot.
Yeah, I've maybe gotten like 5 Ubers in my life.
In your lifetime?
Yeah,
I'm surprised. You're kind of like...
I've been in more, but I've only ordered about 5, and for Lyft, I've ordered about 5 as well.
Oh, I have those people. Those people that... I don't need one. Everybody else has one.
Well, no, that's not... I'm not always getting in them
I'm just
either.
kidding.
I usually use the subway.
Yeah.
I'm a subway kind of guy.
That's good. You're somebody kind of guy.
Or I walk, people. It's a thing.
Yeah, you just said it's your favorite activity.
It is. Well, some people, they won't walk like a mile to... I mean, I guess here it's a bit different, but I do it all the time. But they won't walk a mile... Say you're in Brooklyn, right? Paint the scene.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get from maybe like a C train all the way up to... Or like a neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take
Let's put it in blocks perspective for people who don't know the trains. A couple blocks?
Like 20 blocks.
20 blocks.
20 blocks. I got to go 20 blocks. I'm like, it's a nice day. I can walk.
It's what, a half mile?
I think it's a mile. I don't know. My blocks are off. Let's say a mile. Okay.
Okay.
I got to go a mile.
Mile? Okay.
And it's a nice day out, and I can pay either the $2.75, I think is the fare.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Or
in New York?
In New York.
That's a New York bargain right there.
That is a New York bargain.
Okay.
The MTA is having a problem with people hopping. I think it's like 1 out of every 5 don't pay the fare.
Fare evaders?
Yeah.
Oh, so is Boston. It's a big thing right now.
Yeah.
That was
really
addressed.
cracking down.
That was I believe a Monday news story.
Oh.
That they want to put like gates up, and fare evaders is a big problem.
Don't they already have gates?
They have in certain locations, but certainly not everywhere. Think about Boston.
Isn't that how you swipe on? Or gates over the gates?
No. You can most of the stops in Boston are not like underground tunnels with gates. Most of the stops are just on the street. Think about the train that goes through. Kenmore Square happens to be underground. Yeah. But think about like the Green Line.
I thought you had to like pay when you get on board, or no? I don't take it.
You do, but they have like the middle doors too.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of on like, you jump on and a lot of people will just flash the card, but maybe not end up going up and pay. It's kind of like an honor system too, right?
Mm-hmm.
You jump on the middle door. Let's keep the train moving. They'll go up and pay, or pay on the way out, and people just get on that middle door and. Yeah. I think I'll just jump out the middle door too and never to be seen again,
You could take the European approach.
Which is?
Well, it depends on which one. You could take the Germany approach, which is... Don't do the London one. I don't like that one. Which is where they have the zone system. Yeah. And like you swipe in and then you swipe the zone you get out. And so if you go like 2 blocks, it's cheap. Yeah. And if you go like 20, it's...
That makes sense.
I don't like that one.
I think you don't like that one?
No.
Okay. Which one do you like?
I like the... One price gets all.
Okay. Well,
encourages ridership.
Yeah, it certainly does.
It's a public utility.
It is. What they estimate, though, I forget it's probably an easy Google search here. As I'll try to do it while I'm on the air. But what they estimate fare evaders cost the state.
That's a lot.
It's.
What for Mass or New York?
Massachusetts, yeah. I'm sure New York is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're upset about it.
It's probably the equivalent and more, right?
Oh yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to find the. I know it's a...
While you're doing the Germany one, a lot of places they do, you buy a ticket and then you validate it at these little kiosks next to the kiosk where you buy the ticket. It's like a punch card kind of thing. It'll stamp it. And then you hop on the train, and most of the time you'll never see anyone. There's no gates, there's nothing, anyone can walk on, anyone can walk off. But they have undercover I guess, train police. Similar to like parking officials, but they're for trains, and they come on and between stops they like flash their badge and they check everyone's ticket, and if you get caught, it's like an insanely high fee.
Wow.
Fine.
Fine. Same thing.
Fee, faux fun.
I got the numbers. This is from, the number hasn't changed much. If anything, it's gone up.
Okay.
From 2 years ago. Associated Press says the MBTA is losing up to, wait for it, drum roll, please, thank you. Yep, right on cue, good job. Losing up to $42 million a year.
Wow.
In fare evaders.
That's a lot.
In fare evaders, $42 million.
Now, have they made, I know the MTA, because I think they've lost even more.
Look at you, MTA. That's old school. Charlie and the MTA.
Well, I'm not talking this MTA. I'm talking MTA down in so if I went into the train business, right, I would be fourth generation train man.
Oh.
My great grandfather worked for.
Look at that.
Yeah, he worked for what was called the Boston. What's the really old name for the MBTA?
It was the MTA, right?
No, before that, was like Boston that. Something rail. I don't know. Yeah, something before that. Okay. Worked for that. Then my grandfather at one point worked for the MTA, and then my dad worked for the MBTA, and then if I did it, I'd be fourth generation.
Wow.
Which I'm trying to avoid. That.
Do you like the train? Do you enjoy? Well, you're a subway guy. Do you?
I actually like trains a lot.
Yeah, I do too. I've grown to like them. I used to hate like the train. I don't know why. I think I used to just kind of get bored maybe on a long train rides.
Yeah,
but now I enjoy the silence.
Yeah, they're kind of they're weird cross between, they're not the fast, like you think public transit that has its own devoted track would be like really, really fast, right? Like a plane, but it can't go that fast because it's on the ground. But it's nice because it skips all the traffic.
True.
It's
that is the one thing I would love to see this country get better at, though, is the
rail.
Yeah, just so many of these countries are getting the fast trains across.
I
want to be in California like trains. In a day, on a train. That's what I want. Give me that.
I have a friend that actually he went to go woof in Washington State.
Woof? What is woof? Is that the?
It's when you work for. Usually it's just stay and maybe like a small stipend, and usually like a farm. It's agricultural, and they give you a place to stay.
Gotcha.
So he's woofing.
Woofing. The official term.
The official term, woofing.
Cool. That's cool. Sorry, go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, and so he was telling me, he was like, "Oh, I'm going out to Washington." I said, How you getting there? What airline? He went, "Oh, I'm taking a train."
Wow.
3-day train ride.
It's too long. It's too long for me.
Too long. He obviously had a transfer, and it wasn't one of those nice, sleeper cars.
Yeah. Dicey Wi-Fi.
I think he said it was I actually forget. It was you could buy a flight for that amount of money.
That's not for me. I guess if you have a fear of flying, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think he is though.
Yeah,
that's my shtick.
I'm going to tell him that's a bad decision. Even like New York, the Amtrak to New York. What's that? 4 hours to Manhattan. Boston to Manhattan.
All right, so from South Station to
there you go.
Penn Station.
Do it in your best conductor voice. Yep.
We are. Depending if you take the Northeast Regional, it takes about 4 hours, maybe 4 hours and 10 minutes. And
that's my limit. That's it.
And if you take the Acela Express, it takes about 3 hours and 15 minutes to 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
To 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Okay. It's not a bad way to travel, the Acela.
No, it's pricey though.
It is pricey, yeah. So that's like the cost of a plane ticket.
Yeah.
In some cases.
But you don't have to deal with the TSA and all all the stuff.
I guess that is the benefit. That is the one thing that people say is like, well, listen, it is a 50-minute flight or whatever it is. I don't know. But by the time you go through customs and by the time, you're talking about 45 minutes on the front end, 45 on the back end, and you still got to leave the airport.
You got to leave the airport and I don't know, JFK and LaGuardia. I don't know which one you fly into.
I've done both, but
I don't know. They're both not near anything. They're out there. They're in the city, but they're on the outs, like the very edge.
Yep.
And if you want to get to Manhattan, oh boy, you're talking a long way.
There's your benefit. Yeah, I guess that tells you why so many people take the train. Because you get off right in the middle of.
Yeah, you're on
Manhattan.
34th.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. 34th and 8th, I think, and 7th.
It's good Boston, New York talk right there, Tyler.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
There we go.
That's good. Can you switch with the lovely Lexi here for a second? We have to say congratulations to her real quickly. Get on over here, Lexi. Thank you, Tyler. Yeah. You're a good man. Maybe we can fix my guitar next week. I know. I'm upset I forgot it. I put it next to the door today to remember. Hey, Lexi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Congratulations in order.
Yeah. I got into
college.
It's very expensive. I'm very poor.
That's a good first answer. I like that. I was expecting it to be. It's very exciting.
It is.
But very expensive is probably, you're probably ahead of the game there.
$45,000 a year.
Tyler groans.
Yeah, that won't be one for me.
Well, you got into, would you like to say? You don't have to. You can.
Columbia College of Chicago.
Oh, very exciting. And you don't want to go there? You do want to go there? What's the deal?
I want to go, but I don't have $45,000 a year.
Well, not most people don't. But are you paying student loans, Tyler?
Oh.
Yeah, me too. See, Tyler and I, we've already been through this. We know the student loan paying life.
I don't want to.
It's exciting.
That much. It's not.
The exit counseling, Tyler would like to make you. Don't worry about that. Just find a school you like. But no, that's bad advice. You should think you're doing a good job. It's good to be financially responsible and think about these things.
I'm paying for it all on my own with no help. So $45,000 is a lot for a 19-year-old.
Very admirable. That must as 19. I mean, actually, it's a lot for anybody, but it kind of does seem like monumental. There are ways of doing it.
Never had $45,000 in my life.
I understand that, but there's ways of financing and.
I'm not worried. There's other schools.
Yeah, that school's already in the back burner. It is cool though. What's that feeling like when you get into that first one?
Really. Like so much relief.
Really? Yeah.
Just because, like, the first one I got into, I was like, I don't have to worry anymore. If everyone else rejects me, it's okay.
Then we'll find a way to make that work.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is I remember that feeling. It's like I mean, it's not like you think you're not going to get into any, but it's nice. Just you've never been through it before, right? Mm-hmm. Your friends have that same anxiety? Do you talk about this stuff with people?
Well, a lot of my friends applied to like MIT and things like that, so they're not as worried as I am. Yeah. Because they know their strengths, but like they were also super relieved.
You're getting out of here though, right? You want to be out of.
Yeah.
You want some distance.
Yeah, a lot of distance.
A lot of distance.
It's real good.
Chicago is just not far enough. Thinking further.
I applied to one in England over the summer. Got into that one. London Central Film School.
Wow. Yeah, you've mentioned that. England. Has Tyler been to England?
Yeah,
he's been to England. He's a traveler.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you use the Uber a lot? Do Uber and Lyft?
I don't. I just drive or walk.
Drive or walk. It's interesting. I thought you guys would be prime candidates for a lot of Uber, you two. How old are you? You said you're 19?
Yeah.
Tyler, what are you again? 23. 23. Sorry, I thought you were more like 25. You're 23?
Hey.
I am not trying to rush you. Sorry. You're just very mature, Tyler. That's all. I thought you guys would be like prime candidates for Ubering everywhere, but I guess not.
I don't like how they don't mark their cars as being an Uber car.
Is that like a safety concern of yours?
Yeah.
I've been hearing a lot about that. That's interesting. That's very good of you. You're coming off as very impressive here.
Thank you.
Financially cautious, safety concerns with Uber. That's good. I was actually reading a thing. They said one of the things, if you're going out, it's probably a good thing to say on the radio too, because well, hey, we want to help people, but there have been some bad things that have happened, and they said one trick you should do if you're going to go out, especially if you're out whatever doing with friends, and you're going to get an Uber, you should get in the car and you ask the Uber, what's my name, to make sure that is your Uber, because they have your information and there's a record of where you are.
You also match license plate numbers because they come up when you order an Uber.
It's good. I think that's a good tip.
Yeah.
Think about that this weekend, folks. Be safe out there. Any final thoughts? Congratulations again. That's great, though. I'm proud of you for your first college acceptance.
I've been accepted into all of them but 3 so far.
Wow. You kind of hid the lead there.
Yeah.
Buried the lead, as they say.
Yeah.
How many? 3?
3 rejected me, and I applied to 9.
Okay.
So.
Wait. Okay. So how many are you into?
Linden, Columbia, the New School, Fitchburg, Champlain.
Wow, she has options. Good for you.
Remember.
That's exciting. You'll pick the best one, or you'll transfer. Lexi Foley, thank you for producing today, and congratulations on the acceptance. Tyler Neufeld, thank you, sir. Have a great weekend. And a big thanks to Mayor Donna Holaday. We'll see everybody Tuesday. Enjoy the fun weekend ahead. My name is Drew Moholland. Afternoon Drive on Joppa Radio.